some people get it but don't care, and some people just don't get it, and it sucks when it's your family.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Kendra. This is Widowhood. 0 out of 10 stars, would not recommend. And I've got with me
Amanda. Hi guys, welcome back. We've been getting a lot of questions, which are awesome, and we really appreciate it. I said that on a TikTok the other day. You can actually put my personal email on there, so I'll get them that way. Or you can respond to our Facebook or our TikTok page and just ask us questions. So we're going to talk about family. That was one of the most common things that we were asked was questions regarding our immediate family, like our children, our in-laws, our parents and siblings. So we got a lot of questions about that. So we do want to answer those. So I'm going to run through them. Some of these we've already discussed. So if you asked us a question and we didn't answer it, we probably already answered it in the first few episodes. So please, go back and watch those. But the first one was, what brought you guys to Myrtle Beach?
When I was in college, I went to UNC at Wilmington, and I loved the beach. And I always thought, at some point in time, I want to live at the beach. And John and I had a little place at the beach in our earlier marriage, and we always said, when we retire, we're going to live at the beach. And so we got to a point where I had been a nurse for 27 years. He had taught and been a pastor for almost 30 years. And he was able to restructure our budget with our rental property. And we thought, okay, we can both work part-time now, sooner than we thought. So we decided to move to the beach, and we were going to work part-time and live here and enjoy it before we got old. So that's how we moved away from North Carolina.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
We used to come here for vacation. Mike and I came here a few times. We came with my entire family once. And I think the last time we were here, I think it was 2013 maybe, 2000, I don't know. Anyway, we said we should move here. Kind of made a joke about it, but we were like, we should move here. And I was like, no, I'm serious. And he was like, whatever. He was like, if that's really what you want to do, fine. And I had literally just quit my job in traditional healthcare and became a trainer. So I was making like barely any money anyway. So for me to start over, I was fine with it. Now he had a great job in the union, so he was like, you got to be sure. So we left that vacation, put our house on the market, and said, if our house sells, then we'll know, this is the right move for us. And it was actually my brother-in-law at the time, put it on the market. The first people that looked at it gave us actually over asking.
Wow.
And so we were like, well, guess what? We're moving to the beach. So that's what brought us here, and essentially away from my entire family.
You didn't have family here.
No, we had my aunt and uncle. Like I said, my dad's brother lived here, and that's it. A friend of ours from church, I think, lived here, but we basically packed up and came here by ourselves.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest questions, but same.
We did the same.
We love the beach. We came here a lot. We were familiar. We actually came in like November and March and during the off season just to make sure it was a good fit, and we loved it. So we moved here. I want to say 2015 is when, or 14, maybe it was when we moved here. So, I think it was 2014. So,
Was your family surprised that you guys moved?
They were. Actually, my family was not really supportive. They did not think we should. They didn't think we were making the right choice. But I still think it was. It was. Our marriage was at like its best at that time. And I come from a big family. There's 8 kids in my family. So with that comes a lot of internal family drama.
Right.
And so it's, you always feel like you have to go to something. And it was just like, wouldn't it be nice to just be us? If we didn't want to do something, we wouldn't have to. So they really weren't supportive. They, came to terms with it and said, yes, go ahead. But not that I needed their permission. But yeah, so we packed up. We sold a lot of our stuff. I think we had one U-Haul or one. My brother came with us. We had one trailer, and that was it. And we came down. What about you? Was your family supportive, or
They were okay with it because we're from North Carolina, and it only takes a couple hours to get here
Yeah.
from North Carolina. So, and my parents actually had a place at the beach also, so they would come. It wouldn't be unusual for them to come on the weekends, and so the big decision for me was my dad had passed the year before we moved here. And so I didn't want to leave my mom, but she was already in the process of putting her house up for sale. And so ultimately it ended up that she moved here just a few months after we did, and she moved a mile down the street from us.
yeah,
And then I only have one other sister, and they were also at a point in their life they were looking at retirement as well. And so she was able to move here and work from home, and my brother-in-law was a teacher and he retired, and so he has his own business now here at the beach. But within probably 6 months of John passing away, my entire extended family was here with us within a mile of us.
yeah.
So
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, not the case for me at all. No, we lived here, I don't know, 6-7 years, and then I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, my brother and his wife moved here from Ohio, moved here. And then since my brother moved here, a couple of my family members have visited. Obviously, some of them came right after Mike passed. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it was just, and my brother lives about 30 to 45 minutes from me, so I see him maybe once a month. So yeah, it's not like that. So moving forward from that, we got a lot of questions about losing your spouse and about when we're talking about my immediate family is my children. Okay, Mike and I were a family. We protected our family, and we were concerned about our family and our family dynamic. So there was a lot of issues, I guess I should say, with my, I don't know, I don't want to say issues, but like with my siblings and stuff, I wasn't really close with anyone. Even my own, my mom and dad, I lived a mile away from them. I mean, we weren't, that's just not.
We didn't spend a lot of time with our families either, and part of that was I was always a night shift nurse.
Yeah.
And so we had very little time where it was both of us home together at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember I was looking at the questions, and I was looking back at when John and I started dating. He sat down with me and he said, I want to talk to you about something. I was like, what's this going to be? He said, I always wanted my own family.
Yeah.
And he said, I want us to be a team and take each other's side no matter what. He said, and I want my own family. And we decided we wanted a big family together. And so we had our 4 kids, and we never used daycare. We didn't have our families, we didn't ask them to keep our kids.
Yeah.
We always did things together with them. So we did see our families, but it was John's and my intention to build our own family together. So
Yeah, I kind of feel like that same way. Although Mike lost his dad at a young age, so he was more the one encouraging me to, go to this event with your family, do these things because you're not always going to have them. And when my dad, I remember when my dad got sick. Even before then, I would say to Mike, my biggest regret in life would be my dad would pass away, and I would say I never really had a relationship with him. Like, we just had a big family, and we weren't, You know, on the outside we had like, you know, this image of this perfect, beautiful family, but on the inside it wasn't really like that. And so I just never really had I didn't have a bad relationship. I just don't feel like I ever really had a relationship. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and at that time is when my dad reached out to me and said, I want to have this relationship. And then every Monday on the way to work, he would call me. I would say, I leave for work Monday. My first client's at 6. I leave about 5:15, and he would call me every Monday for like the last year, and usually preach to me, but would call me. So I did end up having a relationship with him, but I remember people coming up to me at his service and being like, "Your dad was a great guy. Your dad," and I, you know, was even telling Oliver like, I hope I can live up to that, but I didn't have that kind of relationship with my dad. I wish I did. There were things that I just didn't. Right. So one of the questions that was asked was how losing your spouse changed your perspective on family, you know, and how it changed your family dynamic. And for me, it didn't change that much. It changed how I guarded my kids, and it changed. I saw people a lot more clearly. I feel like if you want to be there for someone, you'll be there. If you want to have a relationship with someone, you'll have one. Relationships are two-way streets, and they've always been that. And I guess in my head, I feel like I was always the one kind of feeling like I had to earn that relationship or go, you know, seek out that relationship. And when we moved here, I just said, I'm done. I'm not doing that. So I went years really without having relationships with anyone in my family. And even now, I would say since Mike passed, I speak to my one brother maybe once a month. My other one, I have two brothers I haven't even talked to since Mike died. My sisters. My older sister, probably once or twice a month will text. But my dad's brother, like I said, is here, and they've been great. They have been like parents to me, and I see I'm getting what I wanted, you know, from them. Yeah. And I feel like, oh, this is what family does. Yeah. Oh, this is a relationship, but. Also, I have friends that are so great that I see people, I think, clearly, and
I think that changes because I know what changed for me is I realized that in us trying to be a really strong family, just our little family unit, we had kind of closed people off.
Yes, we did.
My family and John's family only lived about 15 minutes from us in North Carolina, and we didn't spend a tremendous amount of time with them. And once I was by myself and then my family moved here, we became far closer than we were before. I had a great home life. My parents were good to me. I had a wonderful sister, but I was busy with my own life, and John and I didn't spend a lot of time with family or make external friends. You know, we were it for each other.
Yeah.
And so I think I learned that it was okay to let people in.
Yeah.
So my sister and I are very close. We lived maybe 30 minutes away from each other in North Carolina. She's across the street from me now. We're back and forth in each other's house all the time. Our children are in each other's house all the time. And we are very different people. You know, I'm very private. She's not. And I can say that through losing John, she has been my biggest help and supporter. And I learned it was okay to be upset in front of her. You know, I had always kind of kept space to myself. And the few times that I have fallen to my knees have been in front of her. And she, so we're far closer than we ever were before. And I have a relationship with John's sister as well.
That's great.
She's still in North Carolina, but we text and we send each other, you know, stuff all the time. So I have a relationship with her. But I think a lot of it, too, was just our kids were so small. And our siblings' kids were small too, and we were just going in different directions.
Yeah. And yeah, I want to say that, like, my parents did the best they could with what they had and how they were raised and what they knew. At the time, I don't fault anyone. I just say that just to be open, like, it just wasn't, like, and even, like I said, it just, you do the best you can with what you have. And I do believe my parents did the best they can, but I just don't ever feel like I had a close relationship with either of my parents or my siblings, really any of them. And I think Mike passing away made me realize that you don't really have time if you're going to do it, but also it's a two-way street and it's got to be healthy. And if it's not, then you don't need to do it. So that was like the number one question. Like, we got asked that a lot. People asked what's been the most challenging part without your partner, of adjusting. What's the most challenging part of adjusting to this? Because, like, we were a family. We did everything. Like, if I said I'm going to the grocery, Mike, but let's all go to the grocery. If Mike and I went out on a date, which tried to do it once a week, he would always even be like, let's bring the kids and do this. Like, we were a family unit. So that adjustment is
I think that's
different.
been the hard part for me, is that we were best friends. So if I didn't know what I wanted for lunch, I'd text him and I'd say, what are you getting for lunch? And we would talk, and then, but we talked to each other so many times during the day.
Yeah.
And if I ever had to make a decision, or he was, and I know Mike's this way too, they were such morally superior people that I knew if I didn't know what to do about something, I could go to either one of them and say, what would you do about this? And Oliver has said that before. He's said, I feel weird not having Dad here to say, is this okay or not?
Yeah. I get that.
And so that's the thing that I miss, is not having somebody, because we had made such a small, tight family. Then I was like, oh, I've screwed myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have a big family, or, I valued my family's opinion, but John's opinion was the only opinion that ever mattered to me.
Same. I mean,
it really is hard to find yourself in a place that you're the one that makes all the decisions,
like,
good or bad.
You're the final.
They're yours.
Yep, you're the final, and that is hard.
So that's been the hard thing for me.
What about, have you found support from friends and family? It sounds like you have. Like, have you gotten that? Like, and I know we're close friends, and I know I have a couple other that I have. Like, I could call, and if I ask something, I know they'll give me like their honest opinion, and if I'm going through something, I can call them, and I know that, they'll be there. I can count on one hand. Like, my aunt and uncle, if I called them right now, they would be like, we'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I called you, I have, my friend Sarah, Brianna, there's a couple people. If I called, I know that would be there. But again, my support system is my circle, very small.
Yeah, I have found people like that, and it takes time. And it takes time to find that, like, I might call you for something that I'm not going to call my sister for.
Yeah.
And I might call my sister for something that,
I'm gonna give you. What kind of advice. Let's go get them.
You're my.
Where they at?
You're my. Where are we going?
Yep.
Whose car are we driving?
Yep.
It's a. You use different people for different things, and you're that for them too. But the hard part was John was all those people.
Yeah.
He was the one that was like, it's me and you. We'll handle it no matter what happens.
That was Mike.
And then you figure out, okay, I go to this person for this.
Yeah.
And
I think that's okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's just, you're used to going to one person. So it's just an adjustment.
And you, like you said, the texting back and forth. I mean, it would be dumb stuff. I'd be like, this machine's not doing this, or I want to grill out tonight. I don't know how to use the grill. Little things like my car's making this weird noise.
Yeah.
Like, I got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was anything.
Right.
Something at the gym, something in like so and so did this. Well, say this or do this or don't do this. So that was, it is hard. And when you look back and see like my God, we texted 25 times
Oh,
in
yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Like, what do we
did
even
too.
I mean, it was just like a meme, a picture, a funny thing, or a question. So that's where I always tell people it's lonely because you
It
miss
is.
that.
It is.
And you have your kids, but
Yeah.
like, I miss a partner.
I think the thing that I miss is that because I've always been quiet and always very laid back, sometimes it's hard for you to decide, is this something to get mad about? Or is this something I should get mad
Yes.
about? Or am I going to show my ass about this?
Yeah.
And I always called John because he just handled stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he handled situations.
Mike would be like, "Come home, I got it."
And
Yep.
and he would either say, "No, I got it," or, "Don't worry about it." And I've had to learn that I can do those things. I can get mad about something. I can handle something.
Yeah.
I just never had to before.
Yeah.
So, I remember feeling like, and still some days I feel like this, like I'm a kid. Like
Yeah.
somebody's supposed to be handling this, and it's not supposed to be me.
Right.
But
Like,
but
where's the adult in this situation?
but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It was just that was his role, and mine was he rode the fence of I'm gonna say too much. I'm gonna make too big a deal of this.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna show my ass when I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I was the one that was like, nah, we're bring it back
Balance
down.
each other out. Yeah.
And so we balanced each other, and so it's
Yeah,
hard to find your own balance.
Mike was more like, they said, "What? All right, less." Like, he sometimes would amp me up, and I'd be like, "I don't need that. Yeah, like, I'm already ready to fight 6 out of 7 days, so I don't need that." So I was found more recently that I was like, if you can't fix it in 30 minutes, it ain't worth all that. Like, if it's something we can fix, don't stress about it. So I've had to learn, again, that's therapy and ways of coping, but it is weird not having. But I luckily, like I said, I have good friends. But you got to learn who your people are. What about like family traditions? Because that's another question. How are you handling like your family traditions
Yeah.
or routines? How has that changed?
We kept everything. We did everything the same.
Because y'all did your own thing anyway.
We did our own thing, but we had a pretty set deal where we spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with my family and Thanksgiving. And we still kept those traditions. And the difference is it feels so surreal that he's not there,
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we're still doing it. It's just a different. And it was kind of at the same time, my dad passed right before him. So it was an adjustment to feel like the two main dudes not there,
Trust me, I know.
So I've been very lucky that I've been able to keep that going with my family. So at least keep some normalcy.
Yeah.
What about you?
So our big holidays were always Halloween because it was Mike's birthday and Christmas. So this weekend, the girls were like, "Can we go to the storage unit and get some Halloween stuff so we can start putting out?" Of course, it was like torrential raining and wind, and I'm bungee and everything. But I said we can go get 3 bins and let's start with that because I didn't even know if I wanted to do that because it's my first one, Mike's favorite holiday because it was his birthday, But so I'm gonna try. Like, I don't even know. I'm gonna try. But we have some Halloween decorations out, or fall / Halloween. But the guy that does our lights for Halloween, he is coming. I'm letting So we're not gonna. I'm probably not gonna go full out like we normally would. But I'm gonna do what I can.
Well, you can.
Because some of it is hard. Like it was his thing, so it's been tough. So
Yeah.
but I'm gonna. Like I said, we're at the first year. I mean, first year, all the firsts for me are just
I know
shitty.
the first year, my oldest Lily, she's 27, and the first year we used to put our Christmas tree up like super early.
We do too.
And it got to be mid-December, and she came over, and she had like the key to the storage unit, and she had gotten the Christmas tree. She was like, "You have to do this.
Yeah.
You have 3 small kids here."
Yeah.
Not small. I mean, they were 11,
I
13,
know.
16. But she was like, "You have to put up a tree."
Yeah,
And I was
that's
like,
gonna
"Oh,
suck for
that
me.
was like,
Yep.
I didn't care."
Yeah.
You know, and so now it's that first year of realizing you do things, and I'm grateful to her for being like, snap to it.
Yeah.
You have to do this for them.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Mike always did the Christmas tree. I never even put it up. So,
Yeah.
I think it just is like a couple pieces, but I don't know. Yeah, that one's going to be.
Well, we'll have to plan an evening
Yeah,
where we do that.
Yeah, you come on, help me put my tree up, and probably yell at it. And,
Yeah.
Because Mike at the end would just shove it back in the box and tape it closed and shove it in the storage unit. So let's hope it still is workable. So we talked about people asked about our family relationships after our spouse. Mine really haven't changed much, and it feels like your family's become closer. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Right? Were there any family members that caused this was a question asked that caused additional stress or hindered your grieving process? And again, I'm still in the grieving process, so I'm still there. So that was a question that was asked, and yes, there were, and there still are. So some people get it but don't care, and some people just don't get it, and it sucks when it's your family. But that's life. So I have just learned to. And then funny thing is, the next question is, how did you manage that?
I can speak to that in that, you know, nobody knows your life but you and Mike or me and John.
Yeah.
And people from the outside can look in and say, well, I would have done this, or you didn't do this, or I don't like how you did this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I know that John and I were happily married for 27 years. Our family was everything to us. And I know that he's proud of me, and I don't care about anybody else.
That's great. I hope that I'm going to do that same. But that's been a struggle for me. So, especially when it's your family, because you'll get like, I heard this, and I'm like, where'd you hear that? Oh, it's from your family. So some of those hurt, and I've had to say I'm not gonna be around that family, which it does suck. But like you said, nobody knew our family, and from the outside looking in, even people would say, if you came, what do you have to complain about? Like, what do you like? You know, and I even look back at our life, and you know, we didn't have really much to complain about. I looked at my life and thought, man, my life is great.
Yeah.
I said it. I would say that, like, my God, like we're living like our best life.
Living the dream.
And people that, you know, like, you should get over it, or you need to do this. Like, I think that's where, you know, we got to talk about setting boundaries. So people ask how we manage those type of family members. And this is terrible, but this is me. But I'm a person who all or nothing. So if I can have a relationship with you and it's a two-way street, I will have that. But if not, I'm not. I'm just not going to do it. What I value right now is peace and healing, and making sure that the girls are both like that. So if you're not bringing peace and healing into my life, you sure as hell ain't coming into my house.
Right.
And
right.
you're sure as heck not coming around my girls. So
I know a lot of people have families where it's difficult and there's history there that cannot be repaired. And I feel like if it's not something that can be repaired, it's up to you to keep your peace and to work forward with the family that supports you.
agreed. Question, did you encounter any unresolved conflict or old tension with family members that resurfaced after your spouse died? Yeah, no shit. I sure did. And I've addressed it with those family members, or I've cut them off. I mean, it's probably not the best thing that you should do, but for now, where I'm at in this, I'm good. I got to fix me before I can fix anything else, anything external. So,
Well, you can love people, but they don't have to be in your life.
absolutely. And I can love you from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I feel like if people want to be there for you and if they want a relationship with you, they will pursue it. I don't care what my kids do. And, Morgan, we laugh about this because I remember she was like 16 and got mad at me and said, I would rather live in a cardboard box behind, it was like Mark's, which was a little crappy store, than live here. And so Mike and I always made a joke about it. Got cardboard boxes. But it's like, it was always like me and my family and we protected. And, if you're in, you're in, and if you're not, you're not. But no matter what my kids would do, I'm always going to pursue a relationship with them. As a parent, they can get mad at me. They can date shitty people. They can, disobey my rules or whatever. Yeah. I'm still going to love and pursue a relationship with them. So, that's how I feel.
One thing that John being gone taught me. Nothing is worth me not having my kids. I don't care what they decide to do.
Yep.
I told Oliver the other day, I said, there is nothing you can do.
Just told Morgan that.
That would change what I think of you because I know you. I know who you are. Mm-hmm. And so if I can keep those 4 people close to me, regardless of what they're doing, I don't care if I'm visiting them in prison.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be there.
I 100% agree. I love that. And Mike has an adult son in Ohio that I would love to connect with. I didn't handle being a step parent well because I didn't know how to. That wasn't something that was shown or taught to me. So I do feel bad about that. But if he hears this, I would love to connect with you. I apologize. But that's one relationship that I would like to connect with because Mike left journals and there was notes and notes and notes to his son. So I know how important that was to him. The next question was, did you find it necessary to set boundaries with certain family members? Yeah, of course we did. I found it necessary to set boundaries just in general in my life because I was a person who I say whatever and I accept people and I'm an empath. So I feel what I want to feel what you're feeling and I want to fix everybody. I want to help everybody. And I feel like I have to earn and be something for you to want to have a relationship with me. So of course, so I had to learn to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Same?
I agree.
Okay. And then it says, how did you handle family members that were not supportive or created conflict? We set boundaries. Those family members, I pretty much just
You don't have to be involved with them.
No.
You're an adult.
I'm grown and, my kids are at an age where, I said to Hudson the other day, we were talking about hugging, and I'm like, you don't have to hug anybody you don't want to hug. Like, I know we're not huggers. Neither. You're not really either, but you don't have to hug someone. Right. You don't have to engage in a conversation. You're not forced to do that. At 8, you can make that decision, and Morgan, as an adult, can make that decision. So, man, you guys, these are good ones. How did you deal with family members that were manipulative, emotionally manipulative, or unsupportive? Again, for me, it was just setting boundaries. Luckily here, like I said, I have good people that help me with that and were here for me. So I was able, and again, I'm not saying cutting people out of your life. I'm saying for me at this time, I can't have a relationship with some people because it's not healthy or productive or it doesn't, if it doesn't bring value or peace to me, then I can't, I don't have the energy to do it right now. I barely have the capacity to get through the day.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
I've been really fortunate that my family that lives here have been very careful to give me time alone.
Yeah.
Like they've said, if you want to go somewhere, we've got the kids.
That's
if
great.
if you need an evening by yourself or you need to go shop by yourself or you want to go get something to eat by yourself, we've got the kids.
Yeah.
And so that has been, we're far more involved with each other than we were before. So I know that's a different side of the coin, but that's
Yeah.
what has happened
No,
for
that's
me.
great because I even found myself like a month ago. Like I love the kids. But I'm like, I need a break. Like
Yeah.
I needed an hour just by myself.
do.
And I couldn't get help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough. The next one was, how do you differentiate between people who are like genuinely here for you and people who I need more information or you should have done this or for me, I can read people really well, and I always say I match energies, and I can match that, or I can just stop it. So, if people are coming at me in a way that I feel is disrespectful to myself, my marriage, my husband, I'm coming back typically, or I'm shutting it down, or I'm walking away. I learned this a long time ago. Other people's opinions of you is not your business.
Right.
So those I just didn't, I pretty much just shut down. I did get a lot of that in Facebook, Facebook messages, Facebook comments, people from, Ohio messaging me, I heard so-and-so said. Clearly that's shitty and you're just fishing for information. You're not really concerned with my well-being or the girls. So
I think one thing that I at first felt like I was inclined to do was to respond to people if they ask questions because I'm from the South, and you have to be polite and and then I realized I don't.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
that's different because I
Because,
didn't do that.
so if anybody asked me a question about did I did I manage John's care or why didn't he get moved to a different facility, I knew everything that I had done to get him transferred. He was never stable enough to move. I knew that I had spent every day on the phone with an ICU nurse manager that told me exactly what he was getting, that he was a good friend of mine, and he was like, they're doing the best they can for him,
Yeah.
And so when people would message me questions, did he get this? I had a lot of people message after the fact, did they give him this medicine?
I remember.
And I don't know what that serves. Will that change the outcome here? I don't know if it's because people were curious because COVID was so rampant at the time and they were scared and they didn't want to be, in a position where, they didn't get well. But I finally got to the point where I don't have to respond to anybody.
Yeah. So those were the people that you kind of had to differ.
Yeah.
That's how you did. Like if someone was asking because maybe they had the same situation, then you would respond. After Mike died, like I literally had, I think it was like 389 Facebook direct messages. Well, I mean, clearly you can't get to all those. So
Right.
there was, at one point I sat and read them, but I didn't respond to all of them either for that reason. I just didn't feel it.
And you shouldn't have to.
I didn't think I needed to, and I didn't.
No.
Some of these people, I barely know you, so I don't. And I didn't really feel like I owed anybody shit. I'm like, I don't owe you anything. Like you weren't in my. Did you do this? Did you? I don't. I don't owe you anything, so I didn't really care to. Financial conflicts and pressures. This question was asked a whole bunch. How do you deal with that after your spouse dies? Because there's, I'm like, we did a GoFundMe because, again, we didn't have life insurance. We didn't have all that. So, how do you deal with that kind of stuff? Especially if you have it, people are, telling you what you should do and that.
Yeah. I was very fortunate because John did have life insurance. My children get his Social Security. He had rental property that does well. And so not a lot changed for me financially as far as I didn't have to worry. I did downsize my house.
Yeah.
But I did that in terms of looking at futuristically.
Yeah.
This is the size house I need, and this keeps me from spending money that I don't need to spend because that's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Do I need to do this because, I'm the only person here now.
Yeah.
So I've been really fortunate, but I know that's not the case for everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't have a wealth of information to share on that. And that's why I'm glad we were having, Branna and the life insurance person.
Yeah,
on.
Bonnie will be on. I don't think it's till next month. She had some other obligations, but yeah. For me, it's just been like really trying to figure out what we need and how much money I mean, I've worked obviously more. I've been more financially conscious, but yeah, I just have had to be smarter about what we spend, and I've had to tell like even the girls like these are things I can't do because Dad's not. I mean, it's not because Dad's not here; it's because we don't have that income. So that's been tough for sure. I don't have all the answers yet. I don't know. We talked about that. I had to make some big financial decisions that not necessarily I would have if he would have been here, but I have to now. So, a lot of people I'm sure don't agree or whatever, but you're not in my shoes. And again, for me, I'm still at the part where just getting through today. Just keep the lights on, keep the trying to do everything I can. So I'm in the process of the Social Security. I'm in the process. So for all those things, I'm still in that. I'm in that still. So once I have a clear plan, I'll give it to you. But I think Bonnie, when she comes on, will be able to help you. She did set me up with a financial planner, and so I have a better plan for my future where I didn't before. So. I have, again, having good people in your life. I was fortunate. So,
And I do have, John had a financial planner, and I just kept working with him.
Yeah.
And when I don't know what to do about a situation, or if I don't know something's a good purchase, or should I sell this, I call him.
Yeah.
And he manages for so many people that I feel like he's got to know more about this than me just making a decision.
I do have that too, and you're right. That is helpful. I've called him several times, and he always calls me back. He's been like that too. So I can, and if you guys want this information, we'll give it to you when Bonnie comes on. She's going to be doing that as well. Just like Brianna gave out a lot of really good information. So the next question was I kind of broke these up about healing and moving forward. How do you prioritize your own health and dealing with your family and relationships? That was a lot in one question.
How do
I
you
will
prioritize
say
your own health?
your own healing while dealing with family members and family relationships.
I think for me, I started therapy immediately because I knew I needed to talk to somebody. But I think I felt so much pressure to be healthy and because I was it.
Yep.
And I needed to look after myself. And I realized that if I was worn down, if I hadn't slept, if I wasn't having somebody to talk to, I wasn't going to be any good to my kids. And I wasn't able to help them and make good decisions. So for me, it was really important to invest the time to, I would walk. I would talk to, I had a therapist because I felt like I had to do self-care to be able to help them.
So for me, self-care, I'll be honest, I've done therapy, but I already been in therapy this entire time. But the self-care thing is what I really struggled with. Like I just started like 2 weeks ago working out again, and it's just 3 days a week, but it's like getting my ass on the gym floor. It's hard because this was like Mike loved the gym, so it's hard, but I got to be healthy. I've got to be, because you're like you said, I'm it. So self-care is really hard for me. I just started. I had a book that I was halfway through and Mike passed away, and I have not picked it up since. I started reading that this week again. And that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm reading and working out a few days a week. I don't know, because I'm so worried about Hudson, getting karate, and I'm still focused on her. It's like I don't want to screw my kids up, right? Like I don't want to screw her up right now.
I know,
because I'm sure this has totally just shit on her whole world right now, and I just. I want to make sure that she can do everything. I make a joke about it. Like, listen, no matter what I got to do, like I always say, if I get somebody's getting on a pole, but I'm just saying that because I'll make it. I'll make it happen. I will do anything for my kids. If I have to work 3 jobs, that's what I'll do. So
Right.
self-care right now is low on my list, but I am trying. So know that I'm trying. I'm trying to do it. Dealing with and it was like while dealing with family relationships. So that's where I'm at. I feel like we answered that question. So were there any family relationships you decided to distance yourself from or cut off after Mike's death? So this question was directly to me, but I don't know if there was any that I've distanced myself for sure. I don't think I've actually like cut myself off, but for sure I distanced myself. Yeah, I mean, and that's my personality anyway. If I don't like something, I just cut it off and move on. So I don't know if that's again good or bad, but yes, 100% I have.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty closed, distant person as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I've done a lot different, but again, I come back to it. I make sure the people that live in my house are good, and that's
good.
what I
Yeah.
do.
That's funny. That's the next question. Looking back, how do you feel about the decisions you made regarding family dynamics and during your grieving process? I'm sorry. How do you feel about the decisions you made regarding family dynamics during your grieving process? I'm good. Like I'm good. I'm good. I'm protecting me and my own, and the family that I have has been good, and I'm good. Looking back, I don't know what I would have changed some things the
Yeah, I
next
would.
few days after Mike died. Those are some things I would have changed. Though I don't know if I made like decisions because out of fear and immense grief and just panic.
Yeah.
But other than that first week, and then after that, I really feel like I said, you got to get your shit together, Amanda, because I was so broken and sad and just effed up for the first week that some of those decisions I made were dumb. But after
I think
that,
any time in your life you can look back and say, I wish I'd have done that different, or I wish I'd have done
sure,
this different.
yeah.
But there's there are times that I feel like I might have made decisions that weren't my best decisions I ever made.
Yeah.
But on the whole, for the last 4 years, I feel like I've done the best I can. And I've done what I thought was the right thing at the time.
Yeah.
And what you think might be the right thing right then might not be 10 years from now. But I did one thing at the time. I did one day at the time.
And again, it goes back to I did the best I could with what I had.
Yeah.
At the time that your spouse has I was so I was a mess. I was so broken. There was nothing I could do. So I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Was it all right? No, it probably wasn't. But I did the best I could. There's just 2 left. What steps have you taken to rebuild healthier relationships, either within or outside of your family? I really haven't tried. I've worked on building a relationship inside my family with my own family that's, here. My aunt and uncle have been, like I said, I've built a better relationship with them. My kids and I have a closer, tighter relationship. But the outside family, I haven't really, I feel like, again, a relationship's a 2-way street. If you want one, you'll pursue it. If not, you won't. And I'll be okay with either one.
I think I've made more of an effort to be friends to the people who are my friends.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, John and I were so consumed, just us, that I didn't respond a lot when people would invite us to do things.
Yeah.
I, would back out if we, didn't want to go. And I've tried really hard in the last few years to reach out to people and not be the one waiting for somebody to invite me to do something or to check on me. Because if I'm thinking, hey, nobody's checked on me, or I want to go somewhere, then I need to reach out and do that as well. So I think for me, it's been more of, you're going to have to put more effort into this, because this isn't John isn't your life anymore. So you're going to have to create a new path if you're going to have people in your life.
I think that's probably something I need to get better at, because I kind of am waiting for people to call and ask me to do things. So, yeah, that's probably for me what I mean, I do need to get better at that, because I do really stay in my bubble 99.9% of the time. But, you know, this topic of family, it's tough, because you're talking about things that are going to hurt people's feelings, and that are you keep tight to the vest. But you guys asked the questions, so we answered, and there was a quote, and I don't know if it's a Bible verse or what, but Mike had it in his office, and it said, "I went through the journey and I realized that there was more in me than was against me." So I'm going through this journey, and I realize that I'm stronger than what's coming at me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate my friends. You know, like I said, my circle is small, but the people that are in it, I love and appreciate. And you're one of them, so I love you. Thank you.
Me.
I know. And these were great questions. There are more. We will do more questions, but this was pretty much our family episode. I know it probably hurt some people's feelings, and I know we said things that were probably like, wow, that's a lot, but that's what we're trying to do, guys. We're just trying to be honest with how we feel and what we're going through. So that's all I have on this topic. How about you?
I'm good.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you.